Must we away? Make ready.
Vivian, I read your note, and I'd be happy to help you find the book you're looking for.
Thank you, Clive. But tracking it down will not be easy. Are you sure?
Please. You have always granted me your wisdom and insight whenever I asked. It's only right that I return the favor. Or at least attempt to.
You are too kind. Alas, what I ask of you is rather more trying than delivering the odd lecture. I spoke with Hippocrates to see if he had any inkling as to where another copy might be found, but... But perhaps it is best that you hear the details from him.
If you say so.
Forgive me, Clive, for asking this of you. But this book, it set me on the path to becoming who I am today. Its importance cannot be overstated. There's something about it.
Ah, Clive, my boy. What a pleasure it is to see you.
Hippocrates. There's something I need to ask you. I've been charged with locating a book called From a Distance.
Then you seek a rare gem indeed. One whose name I had not thought to hear from your lips. You've been talking to Vivian.
Right as always. But she didn't seem keen to tell me very much. I take it she didn't like what you had to say.
And yet I gather it did naught to dissuade her. Clive, if the young professor has tasked you with obtaining a copy, I fear she asks the impossible. The executors would not allow it.
The executors?
Coveters of Secrets, a clandestine organization committed to the collection and intenebration of forbidden texts and technologies. One such text being the tome Vivian seeks, chronicling as it does the true history of the enslavement of bearers, a tale which could overturn the established order were it ever to become widely known. Or, so rumor has it. I've never actually read the thing, or even set eyes on it for that matter.
How is it that I haven't heard of this organization?
Why, secrecy is the executor's watchword. They lurk in the shadows, emerging only to seize that which must be seized, be it books, inventions, or people, before disappearing again, leaving nary a trace.
Which would explain why Vivian's copy was snatched from her grasp not long after she found it.
By the hand of the executors, yes.
But what drives them? Self-interest or ideology?
Fine question. Sadly, all that is known of the executors can be recounted in a single breath. You may just as soon ask me of their origins, numbers, or the identities of their leaders. Any answer I give would be pure speculation.
Then my hunt was doomed from the first. What was Vivian expecting? That I'd pluck it from thin air?
Not from thin air, no. From ash. Rumors of the executors are rife among the scholars of Storm, but rather less so across the strait. I have a friend. Well, I had a friend in the village of Garnick, a collector of rare tomes, upon which subject we would oft correspond. Alas, I have heard naught from him since the skies fell dark. And no doubt he too has turned. But though he did not mention it by name, it is possible that a surviving copy of From a Distance yet rests upon one of his many shelves, quietly awaiting discovery. If you were, by some chance, able to save even a single book from the poor man's library, I know his soul would rest easier.
Very well. When I next find myself in Waloed, I'll be sure to pay Garnick a visit. The entire village looks abandoned. Now, which house would a bookworm live in? This is a Royal Army logbook. Did he take this from the local barracks? His interests were certainly varied. This is it. But if what it says is true, I need to get this back to the hideaway.
Leaving so soon, stranger? We've been watching you. From a distance, so to speak.
Subtle. I know who you are.
Then we need not waste time on introductions. Hand me the book. Leave it in our care and return to your life.
Your care? Do you mean to burn it or bury it?
That is not my decision to make. But by one means or another, its contents shall be removed from the common record.
Then I'll have to politely refuse. I won't let you erase our history.
Then we find ourselves at an impasse. Very well. The book can just as easily be pried from your dead hand.
Let's see, shall we?
Impressive. But we have other means. We shall claim the book yet.
Why do you want it so badly anyway?
It lays out in no uncertain terms the vanity and avarice of mankind. It tells the shameful history of the persecution and oppression of a gifted few by a giftless many. Would you say that this interpretation was correct?
I don't know.
You don't know. Your sword may be sharp, but your wits are dull. So let me answer for you. There is no correct interpretation of history. That a series of events took place may be proved beyond a doubt. But there can be no single, immutable explanation as to why they came to pass. It is a question of numbers and of belief. If enough people believe that a set of events occurred for a reason, that belief becomes the truth.
So you're trying to control the truth?
We are trying to protect people from themselves, from knowledge that would bring them naught but pain. That is all. You may keep the book, for now. The world is small. We shall meet again. Until then.
Wait! Damn it. Let's get this back to Vivian. Perhaps she can explain what that was all about. Vivian. I found it. The book you lost.
You found it. Thank you, Clive. Even though I asked this of you, I was not entirely sure it would be possible. I feared the executors had seized every copy.
I met with one of these executors, and I convinced him to let me keep it. He told me something. That the truth is just a matter of collective belief. And that if enough people believe a lie, that lie becomes the truth.
It does. But it also means that the truth is not immutable. That it can be changed. Provided that those who wish to change it can convince enough people that their perspective is the correct one. As the sad history of the bearers proves.
You said that the book inspired you to become a scholar.
It did. Or its author, rather. She was a heretic, you see. A firebrand and a dissenter. A gallows stood ready for her in every corner of the realm. And by shunning society, or perhaps being shunned by it, she stumbled upon a truth so potent that an entire realm trembled at the prospect of its utterance. I, too, have always felt somehow set apart from the world of men. A stranger to my own species. She taught me that my solitude was not a curse, but a gift. And that, though my journey to the truth might be a lonely one, what I found at my destination would be more than worth the cost.
Do you still feel that way? That you're not one of us?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure anymore. Since coming to the hideaway, I find my thinking somewhat clouded. Perhaps the result of studying mankind from a rather closer perspective than I had intended. But the more I study, the more I find value in this perspective. In looking not from the outside, but from within. So if you'll permit me, I'd like to continue my work here. Remember, Clive, when enough people believe, belief begets truth. Give the men and women of this benighted world the gift of truth. Make them believe in you, as I do.
I'll try, Vivian. I'll try.
Welcome to the Patron's Whisper. Your benefactors are a generous lot. I don't have that one. You do. All done?
Nid, if you have a...
That's it! I knew it! The answer was right here under my arse all along! If this doesn't steer to the skies, nothing will!
To the skies? You aren't trying to give the Enterprise wings, are you?
What else would I be doing?
The children seem to think you're avoiding them. They're worried about you. Is this really so important that you need to shut yourself away from everyone?
The Enterprise is already the fastest ship in the realm, and that's with the sea beneath her. But what if she weren't bound to the waves? What if she weren't bound to anything at all? It's not fair. The gods get the skies all to themselves, so I'm gonna do something about it. The Fallen had their chance, but they relied too much on magic. And see where that got them? But not me. I've discovered how to do it without. Well, almost. First I need to make a prototype.
And is that a one-woman job?
Are you volunteering? I'll have you know the Enterprise is my baby. But if her godfather's offering to lend a hand, I'd be happy to take it. First, I'll need oil, and not just some old drippings from Miss Molly's spits in the Tub and Crown. Refined stuff, like they make in Ordill. Then I'll need some bone, or shell. Light, strong, preferably no longer attached to the beast it belongs to.
If it's beast bones you're after, I'm sure the curse breakers will know where you might find some.
No, they'll know where you might find some. You're the one who offered to help, remember?
I should speak with one of the curse breakers before I set off for Old Hill. See if I can't find this bone while I'm there as well.
Has Midadol mentioned a new project yet?
All right, Sid. Come to buy us around, have you?
Only if you earn it. Mid needs a piece of light but durable bone for her next project. You've encountered your share of beasts on your travels across the realm. Any ideas?
Most bones are the same. Whack 'em hard enough and they'll break. If it's durability you're looking for, shell will serve you better. You know what an adamantus is?
I do. And I know to give them a wide berth. Will any old adamantus do?
Well, with shells, the older the harder. There's a rumour of an ancient adamantus down in Karava, near Old Bidza, or what's left of the village anyway. But don't expect to make quick work of the bastard. There's a reason it's lived as long as it has.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
There's something about it.
Clive, if you're gonna buy something, be quick about it. It'd better all be here. You'll not find a better price than that. You're rubbing me blind, you know. Come again. Or don't. I'm not much bothered either way.
It's usually me making demands of Hippocrates. I wonder what this is about. Lawsman Hippocrates. I received your note.
Ah, yes. I expect you're wondering what this is all about.
You spoke of making amends with Dion, but I can't imagine what for.
Then I should begin by telling you that I was once his tutor. This was some years ago, of course, before I joined Sid in his hideaway. At that time, I was counted among the foremost scholars of Oriflamme, and was accordingly invited to the palace to supervise the young prince's education, all to ensure that the future emperor had a firm grounding in, well, everything an emperor should. History, religion, commerce, government. Alas, our time together was cut short when Dion left to join the Dragoons. His studies no longer being deemed necessary. I had not expected to meet with him again, least of all here.
Have you spoken with him?
No, I have yet to find the right moment. His Highness always seems so preoccupied, especially when alone. I would not wish to disturb his ruminations with idle words of greeting. Not when I know he dwells upon the evil Ultima had him commit in the Dominion.
The guilt weighs heavily on him, I know. But as you say, that was Ultima's doing. Surely you can't blame yourself.
When I first met him, it was not guilt, but his people's expectations that weighed heavily upon him. And I did nothing to ease that burden. He bore it alone, until the day he could not bear it any longer. It is one of my greatest regrets that I only ever offered him my wisdom, when what he truly needed was friendship. The blame for Dion's transgressions lies not only on his shoulders, but on mine.
I see. I'm ready to help you in any way that I can.
Then I beg that you bring me a wild wyvern tail. Apothecaries across the ages agree that even to glimpse such a flower is to be granted inner solace. Fabulists and fraudsters all, of course. But there is oft a seed of truth to be found where even the most outlandish opinions align.
Well, it can't hurt to try. Where can I find this flower? And how will I know it?
You have seen cultivated wyvern tails before, I trust. The lily-white blossoms from whose roots the poisonous ink for the brand is distilled. Well, those which grow in the wild differ only in their purple hue. The harsher the environment in which they are raised, the deeper the color. There is a waterfall in Rickmal's roost across the strait, where the flowers once grew in abundance. Whether they still survive there, I know not. But try as I might, I can find no likelier location.
It's all right. I'll find you a wyvern tail one way or another.
Thank you, Clive. And please, be safe.
Eyes peeled, Joshua.
There it is. For House Rossfield.
Is this the Heartstone?
I expect Lady Goditha will know.
Thank the Founder you were safe. The Griffin is slain then?
and a Heartstone claimed.
Yes, this radiant luster like frozen flame. It is just as your father described it. Thank you, my lord. Your grace. Your father would be so proud.
Lady Goditha, the lapidary is ready.
Thank you, Cyril. I will be with him shortly. If you would excuse me, I shall have the stone cut and set forthwith. The armbands are complete. Pray, take them. They are yours, after all. Heartstone is harder and more enduring than garnet, or even ruby. It symbolizes unwavering will and devotion. And the graven vines encircling the stone represent the unbreakable bonds between you.
It's a message. Father knew we had enemies both inside and outside the duchy. Enemies who would thwart his vision. Only with unwavering devotion would it ever be realized.
And only if we stood together, as Phoenix and Shield, as brothers in arms. Only then might those enemies be overcome.
Indeed. His Grace knew the enormity of the task he would entrust to you, his heirs. But this was more than just a message. It was a promise. That he would always be with you.
Thank you, Lady Goditha, for remaining the steadfast custodian of our father's will.
Forgive me, my lady, but there is something I don't quite understand. The Undying told me that after Father died, Mother claimed all of the ducal treasures for her own. Even if the armbands were incomplete, she would surely not have overlooked them. So, how were you able to keep them from her?
Because I was the keeper of the vault. Though I was but a lowly servant, your father spoke to me of his intentions for the bands, of the deep love he had for both of you, and his hopes for your future. In the days before the disaster at Phoenix Gate, I discovered that the Duchess had ordered her jewelry be sent away from the castle. It was then that I knew she meant to betray us. I tried to warn your father, but it was too late. When word of the fire reached Rosalith, I knew my time was short. So I took up the armbands and I fled into the night.
And thank the Founder you did.
Yet my duty to your father was incomplete. Not knowing what else to do, I followed the Griffin, thinking I might claim the Heartstone on its passing. And so my pursuit continued, until Lord Cyril appeared before me. He informed me that His Grace's will had been recovered, and that his sons were alive and well.
Lady Goditha, on behalf of my father and all the people of Rosaria, I thank you for your loyal service.
As do I.
Thank you, my lord. Your Grace, for coming back to us, for giving my service meaning.
The bands suit you well. It must be gratifying to finally receive the inheritance that was denied you for so long.
It is. And we thank you for the part you played, Cyril.
If you would permit me to play my part a little longer, might I suggest that you make your way to your father's memorial atop Hawk's Cry Cliff? Let him see that you have received his blessing, and that his vision lives on in you.
I suppose it would be churlish not to. What do you say, Clive? Shall we pay Father a visit?
I think we should. I was hoping to be able to offer him my thanks before we left for Origin.
Your father's helm is enshrined there. It has been since Since the day we recovered it from Phoenix Gate, I prithee claim it. For it too is a part of your inheritance, and I do not doubt that your father would prefer it in your hands than perched upon some lonely rock.
Thank you, Cyril. Come on, Clive. He's waiting. Unwavering will and an unbreakable bond. Do you really think we're strong enough?
To save the world? Of course. To have overcome Father's political enemies? Of that I'm less certain. Especially knowing what we know now. What Mother was truly capable of. But perhaps these bands would have helped. Knowing he was with us would have made all the difference.
It's just back there. Father always fought for what he believed was right. It wasn't until that night at Phoenix Gate that I realized I had never fought for anything. I always had someone else to do the fighting for me.
No matter how fate conspired against him, he never lost heart, never looked back, never stopped fighting. To me, he was the greatest of men. And I've been trying to live up to his ideals ever since.
We all have, Clive. We all have. And we'll keep trying. Because that's what he would have wanted.
What he would have done himself. Even if it meant standing against the very gods in the heavens.
I shall be borrowing this, Father, if I may. That you might watch over us as we follow in your footsteps.
We won't lay you down.
Onward then.
Onward. To the end.
And to a new beginning.
If Joshua's worried about Jill, I should go and speak with him. Joshua, I read your message. You're right. Jill is different. I don't think I'd realized how different, but since we returned from Drake's spine, I've felt it more and more.
I suppose it's not hard to imagine why.
She doesn't think she belongs anymore.
And that's why we need to remind her she is still one of us. To let her know that we still need her, now more than ever. That you still need her. But how to do that? When last we were truly close, we were but children.
Of course. Do you remember the time we accompanied Father on his annual tour of the Duchy? And Jill and I broke from the procession to ride up Man's Hill.
To see the snow daisies, I remember. It was the first time Father had allowed us to join him. And when he realized you were missing, he had the entire retinue down to the pot boys combing the countryside.
In the rain. A thunderstorm forced us to take refuge in a grove of oaks before we'd even made it halfway there. It was the Lord Commander who finally found us, and needless to say, he was none too pleased.
Then it seems you and Jill have unfinished business. What do you say?
Man's Hill. It's not that far.
Oh, true. Though I suspect it is also much changed. Little in southern Rosaria remains as it was when we were children.
You're saying I should go and scout the area for bandits?
I'm saying we should first go and see if there are actually still any snow daisies left. What would you do without me, Clive?
This is the place, but...
I'm sorry, Clive.
There's nowhere been spared. What do we do now?
We keep looking. Man's Hill cannot be the only place where snow daisies grow.
Perhaps, but... it's the only place I know of. Knew of.
Then why not ask someone who might know of another?
Someone in the backyard? To the hideaway, then. Let's hope one of the gardeners knows where to find snow daisies.
Say what you will, Lady Karen seems... There should toil.
Oh. What brings you down from the heavens, Sid?
I need your advice. Joshua and I are looking for a place where snow daisies grow. Preferably in abundance.
Snow daisies. Then you'll want somewhere not too hot and not too cold. And where the winds are strong enough to carry the seeds. I reckon Man's Hill would be a good place to start. There in the Royal Meadows, perhaps? Both have similar climbs and the right elevation. If the Blight hasn't claimed them yet.
Right. Thank you.
Did you learn where we might find our flowers?
The gardener here mentioned the royal meadows in Sambrak.
Ah, the fields beyond Northreach. Well, if that's the case, then Yote was right. I recalled that she kept the record of our travels, you see. So I asked her if she'd perhaps noted anywhere that snow daisies grew, and she mentioned Oilefeist Bay.
Whose shores border the meadows. Off we go then.
And what can I do for you? And a fine, fine day to you.
He'd have our coin.
So you are content to abandon the people to their fates?
What does the dame have to say about all this?
I would speak with this duke.
Saw the captain just now. Wasn't wearing his uniform.
Let's go. Fly, Ambrosia. The meadows are vast. Where do we even start?
Yote mentioned the coastline. We can start there.
Yes! Look, brother. Do you see them? The flowers and our friends. What do you see, boy? Let's hope this is the last one.
Only one way to find out.
That was harder than I expected. But found her. It was worth it. They're beautiful.
Do you think Jill will like them?
She'll love them. Come on. Let's go.
It appears my work is done. The rest, as they say, is up to you. Well, you and the skies. We wouldn't want another thunderstorm now, would we?
Jill, there's something I'd like to show you.
There is? And where might this something be?
It's, not here. Now, I know this is sudden, but how would you fancy a trip to Oriflamme?
There are so many. This is what you wanted to show me. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. The smile on your face is enough. We've been worried about you. Joshua and I. Do you remember when I took you to Man's Hill? Or tried to?
How could I forget? You saw me crying and thought a change of scenery might lift my spirits. In the end, it earned me a nasty cough and a stern scolding from your mother. But I felt wonderful nonetheless.
I'm sorry. I had no idea what I was getting us both into. But I couldn't bear to see you like that.
Before we left, my chambermaid told me she'd overheard your mother talking about my marriage prospects with some of the noblewomen at court. They were debating whether it would be more profitable to marry me off to one of the high houses instead of saving me for the ducal line. No one thought to ask me what I wanted. I was nothing to them. A pawn at best. I felt so trapped. So lonely.
I didn't know.
But I wasn't alone. You were there. Your hand in mine as we ran for those oaks. And I knew then, no matter what happened, I would be all right. I'll never forget that feeling. Before we broke camp, the morning after the storm, do you know what I did?
No? What?
I slipped away from my governess to climb the tor. And from there I saw a sea of petals, all reaching for the sun. And I realized that no matter how terrible the night, dawn would always come. That you would always come for me. And you have. Again and again.
Where do you see us? When all this is over?
I don't know. Not here, though. I think I've outgrown the twins. After everything we've been through, the realm just seems so small. I'll need some space to spread my wings.
And that's what you'll have. And I'll stop at nothing to see that you do.
I never was much good at garlands, but it'll have to do.
I'll treasure it forever.
Thank you, Clive. For this, the flowers, for everything. It's exactly what I needed. You are my treasure. We should probably be getting back. I expect the others are wondering where we are.
You're right. There's still much to do.
And we'll do it together.